Wow, what a weekend. Welcome into the All-22. The Blue Devils coming off a thrilling win at Northwestern, 31-23. Great to have you alongside David Shoemate, Dave Harding, and Jordan Waters. John Roth coming up a little bit later on. But, fellas, what a game up in Evanston. What a finish. And, Jordan, I'm going to start with you. Last couple minutes, obviously the defense was out there, so you were on the sidelines. But what were the emotions like?
I've never been so nervous in my life. I was over there. I remember I was beside Eli Pinker. We like, bro, we cannot watch. Let's just pray they make a play and defense come out on top.
And what about the reaction when they did? I mean, what a great play, great effort by everybody on the defense.
Yeah.
But to win on the road in that fashion, what's going through the minds of everybody on the sideline?
It was crazy because we all had a chip on our shoulder about like things leading up to the game. So the whole game we thought about it, and when that moment comes, it just showed like I think that play showed us what Duke football is about. That last couple inches showed us what it was about.
We're going to talk about that, Chip. Everyone been talking all week about how physical Northwestern was, and I imagine that was a part of the motivation. But want to give your stat line. Finished the day, 10 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, that 42-yard rip early on in that one. You also had a catch for 9 yards. The running backs were awesome. Everyone was talking about Northwestern's running game coming in. I think you guys outgained them like 220 to 70 or something like that. So many things to take away. What were you feeling out there, knowing that, last year we talked a lot about Mateo, and obviously he was such a bell cow for this offense, but knowing that you've got Jalen, that you've got Jaquez, the fact that you have that blend, does that allow you guys to play that much harder, knowing that you're not going to be asked to carry it 40 times a game? That's
definitely like, if you've seen that drive, I got a little winded, and like we had a couple yards to come, and instead of me like being selfish and like I want this touchdown, I can come out. J. Cole, Quez gonna come in, and he did. He come in and finished it in one play. So yeah, it's like Coach Troop said, there's no fall off when we rotate backs. And all week, Coach Philly, all he said all week, what about our backs? What about our backs? They want to hear about Northwestern backs. They got like 3 backs, and that actually put a chip in our room. Like, yeah, what about Duke football running backs? All we hear about is Northwestern backs. So yeah.
What about that chip? What does that look like, or how does that translate to actually playing? You talked about not being selfish. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a playmaker, I know, to come off the field, to take yourself off and to sacrifice to make sure someone out there who is fresh. But Coach Elko earlier in the week mentioned that you guys ran with your pads low, kind of got down the way that he expects a Duke running group to look like. Can you put into perspective what that is, kind of, when you describe a chip, how does that result in any change in play on your end?
Well, first of all, we had a development to the backs we are. In the spring, our first spring with Coach Elko, it was a little rough, like learning a new style of running and learning like how to read gaps and stuff. And we all developed, like Quez, J. Cole. J. Cole had one of the best camps I've seen someone have, and like he excelled. Like he can play now, and he's running the ball. And that chip just comes from like me and J. Cole being here 3 years, and like now we're playing, like we are Duke football now, and that chip just comes from like sitting behind other guys and watching and learning. And now it's our turn, and we want to do what those guys did or even do better.
Well, I mean, I know Mateo kind of set that bar, but for you, and you talked about like the development and having a really good camp. What clicks? Like, what feels different when you're getting it? Like, you talked about this new run style and kind of understanding where the holes are going to be. But physically, as a running back, when you're like, wow, he had a really good camp, or you feel differently, what's coming together?
Definitely Philly. My
body,
and that means a lot. Like during COVID, we missed like 2 semesters. I never had a full spring until like last year, I think. And like this spring and summer, like we developed in so many ways. We're bigger, we're faster. Coach Elko said today, like as the season goes, we're still getting faster. Yeah. Like mid-season, and that, I guess that just makes me more confident. Like I'm out there running behind my pads, like you said. I'm wanting contact instead of like avoiding it. I'm going to put the pressure on other people and deliver the blow instead of taking it.
So at this point last year, like that was a different mentality.
Way different.
So you're seeking out more of that physicality now than you did before. Interesting.
Pass pro, running the ball, whatever. Like
and wow.
You sought it out at Charlotte last year in the opener down the
Yeah, I
sideline.
did.
And then the rest of the team, the Charlotte team, started seeking the opposite.
Yeah.
I saw people running out of bounds, getting away from you.
You know, you talk about seeking that contact, but also you look at the yards after catches for the receivers this year, the yards after contact for you guys, they're off the charts. Even that touchdown run you had, that could have easily been a 15, 20-yard gain, and then you go through 3 arm tackles and there's nobody there. What is that like when you're in the open field? You know your strength, you know your quickness, and you've got either safety or linebacker trying to bring you down. It feels like your attitude is like, nah,
I'm
not
gonna
going to
say
happen.
Coach Troop's best saying. What are they? When are they beat? At birth. That's his favorite saying, and I really like it because when I'm running the ball, I feel like I'm like one of the best out there. I'm more confident in my run ability. I'm bigger, faster, and when I'm out there like open space, I just feel like I can beat anybody. I think we all feel like that. Like you said, the receivers run after catch. Them boys are just as strong as our backs are, and it shows.
What's your relationship like with the offensive line? I know there's been some shifts even in the Northwestern game. You know, Jacob Monk moves out to play guard at times, and it seems like, though, overall that group has come together with 7 big guys that can play and open up some holes.
Yeah, I'm definitely close with all those guys. I have to be, honestly. My roommate was Graham Barton in camp.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We talked a lot, and I grew closer with Graham. And just, like, being with those guys and, like, knowing all their abilities helps like that. I think that chip they had on their shoulder showed, too, because they was moving guys, and all me and J. Cole had to do was hit the hose.
Certainly worked out in Northwestern.
Yeah.
A 31-23 win. We're talking about a bunch of different stuff today, but I want to take you back to high school because a lot of people deep in the Duke program know, but a lot of people might not know. You've kind of gone back and forth in all the different positions you played. Back at Fairmont, you were quarterback, wide receiver, came to
Yeah.
Duke, originally supposed to play safety, immediately switched over to the running back room. What's that experience been like, bouncing around with all the different positions you played? I imagine it's helped you in the long run because you kind of see the game from so many different angles.
Yeah, I loved it. Coming into Duke, I couldn't tell you what a cover 2 was, none of that. I didn't learn that in high school, and that old staff, they taught me that coming into safety. So then I moved to running back. It was kind of easy to read defense and stuff. So I had to both sides, and it helped me a lot. But switching position, it's been fun to me, honestly. Yeah, I loved it.
Have you given Jordan Moore any pointers along the way?
Oh, Jordan don't need it.
yeah.
He gonna develop, or he gonna be good.
Yeah.
Anywhere he at, he gonna line up and do what
Yeah.
he got to do.
Did you get a good look at the toe tap from the sideline?
I did. I was like looking hard for it.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was gonna take. We had 2 1-on-1s out there. He just had to pick one. He chose Jomo, and he made a play.
Yeah.
But we expect that from Jomo.
No doubt.
We were talking before we got started. Speaking of your hometown, a little bit different wrinkle for you this summer, launching a camp. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's always been in my mind like to do my own camp because I come from a little small town in Fairmont. There's nothing there, not a lot of people, and for me to make it out, my community loved it. Like they support me everywhere, everything. Like I really love my community, and I want to continue doing something for them. So I decided to have my first youth football camp, and we had a good turnout. I had some of my teammates come, Dwayne Carter, Shaka Hayward, Tony Davis, Eli Panko, and Daryl Harden. They all come out there, and actually my cousin Darius Leonard pulled up. Well, Shaquille Leonard, he come out. He come out there and supported me. My community come out, and we had a good time. And I just want to continue doing something for my community. I'm thinking of a turkey drive or something for Thanksgiving. Hopefully, they come out.
Very cool. I think it's interesting. Like we did actually organize a trip to Ethiopia with the offensive line when I was playing. Like those things, there are always hiccups along the way, just like in life. But you learn. I mean, and that's given you certainly really good life experiences to understand. Maybe you don't always trust the ice cream man, and
he got us.
got to move on. But
got
you've got
us.
a great perspective on
He
it.
got us.
It's good.
Obviously, it's been really good the first couple of games. You guys scored touchdowns on your first drive, 21 straight to start against Northwestern, finished with 31 points after having 30 the week before. But imagine you're not done building. So what's the next steps for this offense?
To stay consistent. We've been playing pretty good the first 2 halves of the last 2 games, and we just got to do it all 4 quarters. If we do it all 4 quarters, there's no telling how great we could be as a team.
Is that something that the team is talking about? You know, when you guys come out of watching film or post practice, like,
definitely.
What are kind of the next steps, other than maybe it is just having it in the back of your mind and talking about making sure you complete?
It's definitely the talk of the practice. Like Coach Echo said today, that's the reason we practice the way we practice, to play all 4 quarters, and he's right. And if we do what he says and play all 4 quarters the way we play the first halves, there's no telling what could happen.
Yeah.
You mentioned Coach Elko, and you've touched on this a couple of different ways, but what are some of the ways the program has changed with him in charge now? I know it's a relatively young tenure, just got started back in December, but what have you seen so far?
I love that question. Coach Elko is probably the smartest football mind I ever heard in my life. Like, when you talk situational football, he's the guy to talk to. Like, I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about situational football, and all of it, like, makes sense. Like, when he says it, and you write it down, you just taking notes, but, like, when you actually think about it and he shows you on film, like, he's right. And he's probably the smartest person I ever seen talk about football.
Wow. High praise.
Honestly, like, this is not even because he's my coach. Like, I learned a lot about third down. There's 10 parts to third down, not just third down.
So, like, where have you felt maybe your game mature because of some of those tidbits or the things that he's telling you?
My running style is because of situational football. Like, first down, we're trying to get 4 yards.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need to bounce or run or none of that. Get 4 yards, get behind your pads, get 4 yards. 31, Coach Elko wants the ball in our hands on 31, and that's what I want, to run the ball on 31, 4th and 1. That's what we want.
So a lot of people, when they think of Coach Elko, obviously his past as a very good defensive
Yeah, and that's
coordinator.
what surprised me. Like, he's a defensive coordinator. He knows all this about, like, the offensive side of the ball.
So these are things maybe he's coming up to you one-on-one during a practice and saying, get your shoulders square. We want to get you down the field. That's really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
You guys both played. To me, that's like one of the hardest things to appreciate as a fan. Because, you know, most people, you're watching a game, you got the score bug in front of you, you got how many timeouts are left, you got the time, you got the score, you got game situation, down and distance. When you're out there, a lot of these things you're talking about seem kind of simple, right?
It seems
We're
simple.
sitting here
It's
talking
not.
in the middle of the week, but when the bullets are flying and it's really fast out there, there's a lot to process, and game management becomes really important. I don't know.
Yeah, and it becomes easier, though, as we practice. We practice all those situations, so when it happens, we're prepared for it.
Yeah, for a running back especially, there's so many different elements to the game that get oversimplified by the armchair quarterback back home. You know, like you guys, we've talked a lot about running, but what about like the pass protection and all the schemes there? And you talk about reading a defense, understanding what a defense is trying to do depending on the game situation.
In some situations, there's no time to do all that.
Exactly.
You just have to keep going.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was actually watching a game this week. It was an NFL game, and running back carried out his fake as opposed to, and it was a blitz off the outside. He's the pass protector against that blitz, keeps the run fake on, but he should have bailed on it and gone to block the person immediately.
And
Again,
that's crazy.
situational.
Even professional athletes mess up in those situations because they're not prepared for it. Yeah.
That's wild. Well, appreciate coming on. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Before we let you go, we want to play a couple of games. We want to get to know you a little bit better. No, we're not going to play the password game yet. You see, I think
I'm
you see
ready for
Riley
that
behind
game.
you. You want to
I
get more
gotta
than
be
6
Riley.
to be a top. But hold on. First,
I'm shaking in my boots over
there's
here.
a lot of the pressure's on Harding
gotta
with
be
that,
Riley.
just so you know. First, we're going to go quick, rapid-fire questions. Let folks get to know you a little bit better. I think I know who your favorite NFL player is, but beside
Definitely
your cousin, who would be your best or your favorite NFL player?
Growing up, AP, Adrian Peterson.
Talk about like being able to like recover from injury and everything, get back on the field.
He just got knocked out the other day though by Le'Veon Bell.
Oh yeah,
Y'all seen that?
no, I did not.
Yeah, they were boxing.
And he got knocked out by.
Le'Veon Bell.
That's not a fight I would pick, to be honest.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocked out cold.
Wow. When you're not focused on football or school, kind of what are your interests lie? You have any hobbies?
I'd like to be around my family and friends a lot. I'm kind of an old man. I love to like chill, be with my family, just talk, be around family is all. And I love to fish. Me and Eli Panko, we're roommates, and we moved over here to Belmont, and we have a pond out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I go out there all the time just to fish.
Catch anything?
Yeah, we got some spots in there, some carp.
Okay.
I need to figure out what I need to catch the carp though.
I think you need like
They're
a bow and
pretty big.
arrow kind of thing.
I might need.
Yeah.
They're
I
pretty
mean,
big.
we can get into that off.
Well, Riley
off
went on
the record.
vacation. He said he couldn't find anywhere to catch fish, so maybe he.
I know.
Oh yeah, Riley.
There's a lot of fishing people.
Riley
Yeah.
love fishing.
Yeah.
Next one we'll look at might be football, might not be. When you're just at home watching television, what's your favorite sport to watch as a fan?
College football.
What is your favorite spot on campus?
The Woo. It's crazy. My favorite restaurant, not even in the Woo though. My favorite restaurant is in the Bryan Center.
What is it?
Well, I said McDonald's.
McDonald's. That's why I had to ask. I figured that as much.
Do you have a go-to order or you switch it up?
Oh yeah, 2 McChickens, a large fry, and a Sprite.
Back when I was on campus, they had a deal where you could pay like $15 and get like 100 chicken nuggets and a gallon of sweet tea. Do they still have that?
I don't know. I'm gonna check in.
Yeah,
where he's going after
exactly.
this. Like,
I'm
can we wrap this up?
They probably quit offering that because we took
That would
advantage.
probably be the whole football team.
Yeah, we did some damage.
That's pretty good. Biggest impact on your life, football or otherwise? Who's that been?
Oh, my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your favorite dessert? You can tell Shoemate wrote these questions.
Ooh.
Please tell me. Don't tell me you're not a sweets person.
I got a few. I like cheesecake. I'm a big honey buns guy.
Oh my
Strong.
gosh. Yes.
Yeah, that's about it.
A microwaved honey bun is really
With
good.
like a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Oh, I have not
Are we
done
talking
that.
candy here?
Yeah, go
We
for it.
can.
Oh, the best candy is gummy bears, Herbos.
Oh yeah, I saw some people busting those out on the
On
flight
airplane,
back.
I got
Yeah,
like 3 bags.
I was wondering where.
They're free too.
I know
like
they
3 of
went
them.
quickly because I
There
couldn't get
weren't
my
any.
hands on any.
It was
By the
because
time
of
that
me.
they got to the riffraff in the back of the plane,
It
those
was
were
because
gone.
of me.
Yeah.
Who's the best dancer on the team? We've seen a lot of dancing after these first couple of games.
Eli want me to say him, but it's me. Nah, it's Eli Pinker.
Yeah. What about your favorite football memory at Duke?
The still form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I had my family there, and it was actually happening in front of my family, so that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This weekend, 6 o'clock kick, you're going to kind of get a little bit of both. The sun's going to be out, then it'll be a night game by the time you're done. Do you have a preference, day or night game?
I like night games, but then again, I don't because I don't have that much time to hang with my family out there. But I like playing that night, though.
So when they make the Jordan Waters movie or documentary, who they going to have?
It has to be Denzel.
Denzel. I can see it.
It takes a lot to play me.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
Denzel's getting a little older.
I
so
know, that's what I was thinking. But
one challenge-
prime Denzel had to, he could play me.
I could see it.
Who would play Dave Harding?
Probably like Chris Farley or something.
okay.
I don't know.
All right, we've reached the most important thing here. So leaderboard's behind you. Riley's got the lead with 6. We're going to play the password game. Everyone understands the rules. We've played it before, but just to reiterate, you're going to spin the wheel to pick a category, and then Harding's going to walk you through. You got 2 minutes to get as many as you can out of 10.
Go ahead and take a spin. We got
Riley, you going
food,
down.
Food is won twice, or been the category twice.
Duke football, and famous athletes, and this is Duke football. So we got
Did
a
you
little
fix the
variation.
wheel?
I did not. I was holding the base of the wheel.
Hold
I
on,
did not stop
what
the
has
wheel.
Riley and J. Cole got?
Both of
They
them
both
did
got food.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. As long as
But
different
we got
players.
to go with the great wheel of misfortune and make sure we adhere to what it says.
So you got 10 clues. All the answers are related to Duke football.
All right.
We'll
All right.
give you about 2 minutes. Let me know when you get situated.
All right, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes.
Go.
Coach. Oh, I can't do that. Oh shoot, I messed up. I'm gonna shuffle it up. I'll get it.
Oh,
Can we
I
start
was about
again?
to go. Oh,
False start
shuffling.
on the offense, number 74.
You don't know which coach, but one that is okay. All right, ready?
Go.
Mascot.
Blue Devil.
Okay, one down. Oh gosh, complex.
Yo.
That counts. One word of it. Yep. Head.
Coach. Echo.
Coach Elko. That was the one I cheated on. Oh gosh. Receiver.
Eli Pinkel. Jalen Calhoun. Jordan Moore.
There we go. Gosh. Home.
Game.
That's a bad clue.
Pass.
Okay. Giants.
Daniel Jones.
There we go. Indoor.
Brooksfield. Practice.
You're close.
Pascal.
There you go.
How can I
All
think
right.
of
There we go. Putting you on the spot.
Inside a minute.
Linebacker. What's that?
Inside a
Shaka
minute.
Hayward.
Okay, Shaka Hayward, perfect. Strength.
David Philly.
Love it. And then motto. Yeah.
Grind. Grit.
I keep going.
Oh, bleed blue.
There we go. And then first clue here was home. Next one's going to be field.
Brooksfield.
20 seconds.
You're so close.
Wallace Wade Stadium.
There we go. You got them all.
Yeah, it's 10.
Let's go.
Told y'all
Let's
beat
do
you,
it.
Riley.
Leader.
Gosh, man, I'm sweating.
The bar is high.
I'm sorry, I messed up. I don't. Wallace Wade Stadium. You killed me with having stadium in there.
It's not supposed to be easy.
I know. What's a better
we want
clue
it
for
like that.
stadium or Wallace Wade Stadium? Home, field. I
Should have just pointed to your left.
don't know.
There.
I feel like visual clues are off.
time.
And then Coach Mike Elko, and I go Coach. That's my Duke education at
It
work.
worked 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You got the lead.
Great
You
job.
can only tie you now.
Yes, sir.
so.
Yeah. Wow. Look out, everybody else.
Jordan, looking forward to seeing you this week. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
it.
Thank y'all for having me.
Good luck.
And welcome back in. Our crew back together. David Shoemate, Dave Harding, and John Roth. And fellas, we broke this down with Jordan quite a bit, but I think it's worth digging in a little bit deeper. 31-23, an incredible win at Northwestern. A game that looked like maybe Duke was going to run away and hide, 21-0. Not even a minute into the second quarter. Northwestern, as you would expect for a team in the Big Ten that, you know, who knows, might contend in the West. It's an even year. That's kind of what they do by the time the year is over with. Fought their way back. You got to give them some credit. Got to within 28-23, but then the Duke defense creates an interception, a turnover, gets a field goal out of it, and then creates the ultimate turnover as Sean Hull is trying to dive across the goal line. Stinson and Joyner got in there as well with a shoulder to knock it loose. Jalen Stinson ends up this week, for those that don't know, being the ACC Defensive Back of the Week. Joyner led the team in tackles. Johnson got the takeaways. I mean, there's so many different ways you want to go managing the game situationally. Where do you guys want to start?
I'll start with this. Like, how many times have you thought about a dramatic win in Duke football history? And it's always about something the offense did. Somebody threw a touchdown pass with 10 seconds left. Jamison Crowder caught a pass at the goal. All these big offensive plays are always the ones that kind of the legendary finishes are made of. And you can't really think back on that many times where a defensive play at the end of the game wins the game. I can only think of a handful in my head right now. So kind of a unique situation where you're going to look back at a memory, and there was obviously a lot of good offense and defense in the game, but a defensive play forcing a fumble with 12 seconds left at the goal line. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that for making a defensive play to win a game. I mean, I can remember Chris Robacamba, the defensive back, knocking down one at Vanderbilt. And several years ago at Northwestern, I think Duke had 4 straight plays into the end zone to try to win the game, to try to save the game for the defense, and they did it. But it's not often where you come up where you're talking about the defense on the last play of the game.
Yeah, that's a really good point, John. And I think also just the way that it was done defensively throughout the game of this kind of bend, don't break style of play, and to get into the red zone on that play. They're trying to force Northwestern to eat up some clock because they didn't have any more timeouts. It was a tough spot for them. And just when it seems disastrous, like their plan had fallen apart, the effort of some of the defensive backs to get in there, and you never know, I guess, to your point, what play that's going to be. And it just so happened to be really the last game of any play of any consequence in the game.
Because there's also the element of surprise there, right, from a Northwestern perspective. It was 3rd and 1 from the 12, the play you're talking about. Even if you get a first down, the clock's going to stop only for a half second. You got no timeouts. Do you want to spike it? At that point, there's like 15 seconds to go in the game. I mean, give them credit, good play call. It worked going up the middle. The Blue Devils made a play. Game situation, you're probably not expecting a run there knowing that the other team doesn't have any timeouts.
No, it's true. When you just kind of gave that breakdown, how many times over the past couple years have we been in situations where we're the Northwestern, where we're talking about, man, so close, got down to the 1 yard line, couldn't punch it in. And Coach Elko, I thought, did a good job of bringing up a few, things didn't go Duke's way the whole game, but some things did, and it was kind of a good balance. This group so far seems to be a group that kind of creates their own luck, and maybe they weren't totally prepared for that 3rd down pass play to the running back, right? okay, they found a way to make up for it, or a ball was tipped across the middle of the field. You really needed a first down. Somehow another receiver that it wasn't intended for catches it and not only picks up a first down, but even more yardage. So this team, time and time again, through a 2-game span, I understand, seems to be the kind where the ball bounces in their favor and they're taking advantage of it.
Well, also, it was the end of a long day for the defense. I mean, Northwestern had 94 plays in that game. Yeah. I mean, 35 minutes. They had the ball and the defense was on the field quite a bit. And yet against supposedly what was a more physical Northwestern offense, they held their own. I mean, the running game, they did so well against the running game. You know, there was only 2 gains of 10 or more yards by Northwestern on the ground in that game. The first play of the game, the guy ran for 10. And the last play he ran for 12 before he fell into the end zone. No other play in the game on the ground netted more than 10 yards. So it was a solid, good defensive effort against a physical team.
And hearing you talk about the running backs for Northwestern, both Hull and Porter, you know, you watched him in the game against Nebraska. As good as Northwestern's offensive line is and was in that game, a lot of the rushing yards were because of their lateral quickness, finding room in the hole. Well, the stretch run game, Dave, was non-existent for Northwestern. The speed was on full display. The Blue Devils really shut that down.
Yeah, there's really no run game existent, and I think a big reason for that was the physicality of the defensive line. You know, Coach Elko earlier in the week talked about Jamion Franklin and the work that he did and the work that he has done over the past 8.5 months to lose 20 pounds, to fine-tune his body a little bit more to where he is a factor up front. And coming into this season, we all sat and talked about the question marks that existed along that defensive front. You've got young players, some inexperienced players, and not much depth. And when you're able to look at what happened, John's point of only 2 runs over 10 yards taking place over the course of close to 100 plays, that is a testament to the physicality up front and also the ability to sustain that physicality or the conditioning from a lot of those players.
And then on the back end of that, the defensive secondary had such a tremendous game as well. You've already talked about, obviously, Stinson making the hit on the fumble at the end of the game, but I mean, Brandon Johnson, the key interception in the fourth quarter, the key fumble recovery at the end. I think he had at least 3 pass breakups in the game. 14 pass breakups by the Duke defense in the secondary during that game. I can't remember a game where we've had that big of a number of pass breakups. And, you know, he and Pickett were out there the whole day challenging receivers and getting their hands in there. And, yeah, there were a couple pass interference calls, but probably you'll take 2 of those if you're going to get 14 PBUs in a game.
It certainly was an impressive win, 31-23 on the road. All right, let's take a step back before we get into North Carolina A&T. I want to get your guys' quick thoughts. You know, we're 2 weeks into the season. It's been a little topsy-turvy across the country. The ACC as well. You got 8 of the 14 that are still unbeaten. Only 3 of those are in the Coastal Division. As you look around the league, you know, everyone's an expert of the summer. Everyone kind of knows what's coming, and then you start playing, and things look a little different. What are some of the early things that have caught your eye? You know, maybe in a good way, but maybe a little bit surprising, teams that may have started a little bit slow.
I'd say the first thing that's surprising, not because they're the arch rival down the road, but just the 2 close games that North Carolina's had against the Sun Belt teams. I mean, could have easily lost both, could have easily lost the Appalachian State game. They showed a lot, though, to pull those games out, so I'd say credit them for winning those close games against Sun Belt Conference teams. And to me also, Pitt's been interesting because they had a huge win against West Virginia in their opener, and then they really fought back against Tennessee, got that game in overtime and couldn't quite win it. So they've had 2 really tough non-conference games that they split in. But those are the kind of the 2 teams that I've kind of noticed so far in the league.
Yeah, and Miami's kind of hanging out there in the Coastal Division. Hadn't been talked about very much. Obviously, Coach Cristobal's got a lot of hype behind him and what they're doing. They're talent-rich. But outside of that, the Coastal seems pretty open. And, you know, you're looking at a Virginia team that struggled mightily to Illinois this weekend. Virginia Tech, we all saw what happened in week 1. They were able to right the ship a little bit more in their first game at home. John, you've mentioned the struggles at North Carolina finding a way to win, so maybe that's a positive trait. Certainly is in Chapel Hill, but they haven't been operating to the point that they'd like to be. And Pittsburgh has a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, but they got some big-time problems. Quarterback position, offensive line, health issues. So I just, all of that, nobody considered Duke as being part of the race in the preseason. The national media, forget about it. And you're looking at a Blue Devil team that's 2-0 with an opportunity at home against a team that, yes, is maybe not to the talent level and expectation as a normal FBS, certainly not Power 5 foe that you would see. So you would expect the Blue Devils, if they execute the way they have been, to take care of business. And look, since I'm not in the locker room, I can kind of look ahead. But, Kansas played well, got a win over West Virginia. But the Blue Devils did a good job against them last year. They're a program that's on the rise. Their coach has been in the name, his hat's in contention for the Nebraska job. So are they going to be looking
after that win at West Virginia in overtime?
Exactly. So I say all that to say, you could see a Blue Devils squad going 4-0 into conference play and into a conference, especially a division the last year of that could be potentially wide open.
Yeah, certainly opportunities there. You mentioned Miami. They're going to get their first big test of the season this weekend as they head to College Station to take on what I imagine is going to be an angry Texas A&M team after what happened last week with Appalachian State pulling another stunner for beating Michigan a few years ago. Now they go down to Texas A&M and get it done. But it'll be interesting to see how the ACC shakes out. I mean, Clemson in the Atlantic seems like maybe the best team. Is Florida State back? Is NC State right there? I mean, there's a lot to shake out.
Yeah, I mean, and Duke's first ACC opponent. And we've talked about the struggles that they had, and you got Georgia Tech on the road that hasn't looked all that great either. So many different things to consider. I'm pretty excited, to be honest.
Absolutely. Let's just get to it. Let's go.
No doubt.
I guess 2 more non-cons, right?
Yeah, and everyone overreacts in the first couple of weeks. I'm sure things will look very
Well,
different.
I've already
here
mapped it out to
in a
how
couple
Duke's
of
getting the
weeks.
bowl eligibility, 6-0. You're playing North Carolina at home for the 7th game. Let's fill Brooks Field at Wallace Wade Stadium.
There we go.
Calm
But
down.
you're right.
We
Yeah,
got the Aggies this
exactly.
weekend. Let's talk about North Carolina A&T.
Team to respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sam Washington, a very experienced defensive coach in his 5th year as the head coach for North Carolina A&T. They've lost NC Central, went out west against the defending champions in the FCS, North Dakota State, lost 43-3. But the thing that caught my eye really in both of those games, yes, they lost, but they weren't giving up a ton of yards. I mean, keeping guys under 300 yards a game. This is a pretty stout defense that Duke is going to face on Saturday night.
It is, and this is a type team that always concerned me as a player. And preparing for it, you turn on the tape, you don't really know what to expect. And without a doubt, there are 1, 2, sometimes 3 players you're like, wow, these are people that are going to keep my hands full all night. And a big issue a lot of times with teams that come out of the lower tier divisions, if you will, is like the consistency, their ability to sustain and to maintain a certain level. So I think from a talent standpoint, yeah, Duke maybe is deeper, able to sustain that. But when you look on tape, there are definitely players on defense and on offense. I mean, just ask the Duke defense a season ago, letting up a 20-play drive down the field on the opening possession. But that can make these plays, and that shows up in some of the limited yardage that you're talking about.
Yeah, that is interesting. The only two times these two teams have played, both right here in Wallace Wade Stadium, they had that 86-yard whole 12-minute first quarter drive. Yep. So they led 7-0 in that game. The previous time they went and scored and led 3-0. Duke scored, and then they scored again and led 10-7 after they had a 60-yard run. So the 2 times they've been here, they've had the first quarter lead on the Blue Devils, and it's a team with, even though they struggled last year, championship pedigree. I mean, they were in it for HBCU national championships not too long ago, and so they've got the pride factor of a team that expects to win every time they go out there. They are expected to be the best team in the Big South this year, and so they're looking at, this is a big game for them. I mean, they need to, after 2 losses, show what they got.
And you might see a couple of quarterbacks on Saturday. Both Yeager and Fowler have seen time for North Carolina A&T. All-name team contender at running back Basil Tootin.
Yeah.
He can get it done. So it'll be interesting to see what they dial up on Saturday. And it'd be interesting to see how Duke, welcomes this challenge, so to speak. You go out, dominant shutout win over Temple. You go to Northwestern. You win on the road against a Big Ten team. And now people are starting to say, well, what do we have here going on in Durham? Do you come out with the same fight on Saturday night is a big part of the story, I would think, for Duke.
Yeah, and the operational penalties have been, I'd say, reasonably minimal over the first 2 games of the year. Is there a lapse in focus? Is there a lapse in execution against a perceived lesser opponent? as a player, you've got to battle that because, as I just said, there are people, and history will show you, on this NC A&T team that can come out and beat you. And it's a matter of respecting your opponent and making sure that you take it seriously and you don't have any let up in your preparation, the focus that you have. All of that is incredibly important, especially for a team that's still learning and growing and maturing in this process.
Yeah, it's kind of all about not taking something for granted. Like many people in the fan zone were going to assume this is already won. And so you can't do that as a player, as you obviously know that. And when you look at their depth chart, they've got 8 guys on the depth chart that were playing at other power or division FBS schools in the past. And they've got a lot of transfers on their team as well who are significant players for them from East Carolina, NC State, West Virginia, Pitt, from all over the place. So they got guys who can play as well, and I just think it's just important for Duke to continue what they've been doing. Like, one of the big things to me right now is the fact that Duke's 2-0 and they're scoring 30 points a game, but there's still plenty of things to work on where you can't like assume that we've arrived. Like, we haven't arrived. We've played really good football, but there's still much more to do. We got to stay hungry.
And building the identity of your team. That's a great point, John. And focusing, and everybody says it's not about them, it's about us, and going out and executing the way we want to. There is a lot to grow on. There's a lot to work on and to fix. That consistency element on offense, defense, the yardage, you could say, from last week, a little bit of a concern, making sure you keep people out of the end zone, regardless of who the opponent is. And getting it done is not going to be easy, but definitely a good point of focus.
Weather's supposed to be great. Temperatures in the low 80s. The
Please tell me the band's coming.
Should be here. Well, everyone's trying to get their jerseys. For if you're in school right now trying to graduate, the band will be here.
The
Employee
NC
appreciation
You're talking about the
Day.
A&T band.
yeah.
They're unbelievable.
They're so good.
Yeah.
You're looking ahead. You're looking at halftime. You're looking at a couple weeks
I don't
out.
care when it is. Yeah, I'm very excited. But student section should be full. It's Employee Appreciation Day. So I guess we're all appreciated.
We're ready to go, man.
Should be a heck of an atmosphere on Saturday night as the Blue Devils welcome the Aggies to Wallace Wade Stadium. 6 o'clock kick, and our pregame coverage along the network will get underway at 4:30. On the radio side, you can find the television coverage on ACC Network Extra. For Dave and John, I'm Shoemate. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.